Wowza, it's been an amazing November. I did an intensive home meditation practice sit. Couldn't go to an ashram or go do an intensive sit somewhere. We're in the middle of a pandemic and locked down. So I did the most magnificent meditation intensive course here in life, in everyday world. And it was quite surprisingly, quite shockingly, one of the most fruitful meditation sets, practices, holding of a space of meditation that I have experienced. You do not need to go to the Himalayas or go to the mountain or go on intensive retreat in order to have very fruitful work be done, to do some very fruitful work. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, you guys. So I held a space for the month of November and a couple of days into December with a beautiful dear friend of mine, a co-meditator. So first of all, find some support, find some people to help support and do a retreat practice with. And I held a space with one of my co-meditation travelers. Carol, I love you, dear, sweet soul. So love her. And we developed together what our month of practice would look like and what we wanted to work on and what practices we had from the past done that we thought would be conducive to a productive, fruitful sit and experience for the month of November. And we decided to commit to a whole month because when you go deep in those intensive sits, you have a lot of time. It's a short, condensed period, so we figured we'll just extend it out for an entire month, because then maybe we'll get some good, juicy growth and experience, some karas coming up, or some insights or purification happening. And, we really didn't expect a lot, but quite frankly, this was one of the most fruitful and productive meditation experiences we have both had. It was beautiful. We blended in some cold water therapy, we blended in yoga and qigong, and I blended in some tantra experience and conscious sexuality. These are things that you don't get to play with when you're in a deep dive meditation set. And so what we were doing and what our focus was on was really pulling this deep practice into the everyday world. And we also both worked. We're householders, we have jobs. And we also both worked through this process. And so it was a deep, rich dive into bringing constant present moment awareness into everyday life, into your everyday world, plus into the pandemic and into the crazy chaos of the world right now. It was like finding a place to sit amidst all of that, where you could hold a deep witnessing presence, a place to grow, a place for growth to come out of, for expansion to come out of, for insight to come out of. And boy, it was so powerful. A few other things we also did was some childhood work, some Byron Katie work, and just in general, 100 times a day, I used a mindfulness vibrator reminder that reminded me about 15, 20 times a day, but hundreds of times a day, we would lean into whatever emotion came up, whatever thought came up, whether we were working or whether we were on the meditation cushion. And we did keep a good couple hours a day chunk of meditation in there, just deep dive, silent, traditional mindfulness meditation, concentration, clarity, equanimity practice. And we just leaned into 100 times a day, 1,000 times a day, anything that came up, and met it. And realized, whatever that emotion was, fear, doubt, worry, shame, story, or the physical sensation of constriction in the body or expansion, whatever it was, without labeling it, good, bad, right, wrong, not labeling it, just leaning into it and going, oh, this is here. What is this? And not having a story about it, just letting it be and knowing that sensation, that emotion, that's not really the witnessing presence that I am. that we are, that you are, that we all are. Oh, and wow, what a journey it has been. It has opened up some nooks and crannies in me to be able to explore some areas that I am now liberated and freed up to explore on a delicious, juicy level. One of the things that came up for me was stories that I hadn't even realized or faced or saw about my own body, about my own sexuality, about specific body parts, about specific thoughts in my head about that realm and range that arose to the surface and were able to be met with such compassion and such insight and such space to fucking be without judgment. One of the areas and arenas I'm going to next, which was an arena I knew I needed to go to, and I was resisting not putting the time and resisting not doing, was a deep practice of self-pleasure and awareness there. And I'm super excited. I've already signed up for that course that came out. There was an amazing woman who did a TED Talk on masturbation is the new meditation. Keely Olivia, look it up. She's amazing, and she's teaching this amazing course this month on self-pleasure. And it was just like, oh yeah, house has been cleared the fuck out. That's where I'm going next. It's so joyful and magnificent, you guys. And the other area that really opened up to me was that I have been resisting getting a certificate in mindfulness and meditation, which when you say you want to teach it or you talk to groups or you want to teach it online, however you want to teach it, everybody wants their, or in the Western world, who did you train with? What's your certificate? It doesn't matter how many thousands of hours and years of work and practice you've done. Somebody wants a certificate. So I have been inspired, and I'm going to take a Zen teacher, advanced teacher training course, and I'm super stoked about that. And I had been resisting that, and then I stumbled upon this. I'm going to start that mid to end January, right after I finish my self-pleasure work. I'm so excited about that. And so that's what happens. You bring stuff to the surface, you come into new layers of insight, and you start to learn, where is the next iteration of myself? Where would it feel good to allow the next iteration to unfold of myself? Because this is all this is, you guys. It's leaning into knowing this practice never ends. This is constant, continuous work, and it just gets, it builds upon itself, and it gets bigger and bolder and more beautiful and magnificent, and you grow and you learn and you see blind spots, and you're like, oh, I didn't want to look there, and then you look there, or you go, oh, I don't want to look there yet, but I know I need to look there. And it's just this constant evolution and growth process and practice and journey. It's a journey that you're worthy of, that is worthy of your time. You beautiful being that you deserve to experience. Why not? Why not? So a few tips for you if you're going to do this, some kind of home practice. You could start easy and simple. Shinzen does one every month. Shinzen Young has amazing guides and teachers, and once a month they do a whole weekend sit. And you can do it from the privacy of your own home. You just clear out your space, clear out the weekend. Everybody can do that. Everybody can find time to do that. And it's super cheap. It's like $10 a class. So the whole weekend ends up being like $50 or $90. I don't know what it is. It's just super phenomenal price. And he really tries to adhere to the dharmic nature of this, of giving this information for free to let people access, to let the masses of population access this insight, this wisdom, these teachings. So you could start there and do that, or there are tons of online courses right now. Just get out there, dig in, see what inspires you, see what, when you look at a course or something, is there curiosity that arises? Is there a sense of, there's an interest in that? And then oftentimes also look to, that second thought goes, I don't have time. And then inquire about that. Why don't I have time? Why do I think I don't have time? Why am I interested and want to do this, but I say to myself, I don't have the time? That's a beautiful thing to unpack. Push through that. Just push through that bullshit and take the course. Just sign up, hit the send button, click it, do it. The next tip is hold space with people who are fellow meditators, fellow co-journeyers, fellow yogis, fellow whatever it is, the process that you're doing. Maybe you take a Qigong or Tai Chi course or whatever, and you know somebody who does that practice, and you say, hey, that was one of the things that helped me hold space with every single day. I did a call with my co-journeyer, Carol, that beautiful, amazing being, and we connected and talked about, not in a gossipy way, not in a good, bad, right, wrong way, but we just discussed our experiences in an insightful, productive way, not in like a gossipy or falling into black holes kind of way, but unless they were delicious ones, that were fruitful. And have somebody else to help you hold that space to make that commitment. It's just like working out, having a workout friend, you know. And then the next thing is you've got to hold space in your daily life to do this, because you can't just check out if you're going to do a whole month. We opted to do a whole month because what the hell, why not? We're home in quarantine, and we figured if we're going to get something, anything like what we get out of a dense, intense sit, we needed a little bit more time to explore. That was a good call. And we both worked during that month and still held the space of having to bring in the finances to pay the bills, to turn the lights on. And so we looked at our work schedules and we parsed them down, because you can do that. We just don't think we can, but we parsed them down as much as we could. And we infused into those work schedules, we infused that into the practice. That was a part of the practice too, of like, how do I handle work? How do I be mindful during work? This came up with a client, or this came up with a person, a coworker, this came up, how do I turn that into a mindfulness learning opportunity? As I said before, we incorporated in physical practices that we wouldn't normally do in a sit. You do these 10-day sits. It's abstain, abstain, abstain. Don't think about sex. Don't talk about sex. It's not, no work, no sex, no nothing. Just do your practice. Just do your practice. And what was so beautiful about doing this in the everyday world is we got to incorporate connection. How do I mindfully connect and lovingly connect with my partner and with my family and with those around me, and still hold a space of mindfulness in that realm? And how do I do it with work? Incorporating all of that. And the profound takeaway, the most profound takeaway from this entire month was walking deeply and firmly and deliciously in both the realm of form and formlessness. In this realm of concentration, clarity, equanimity, present moment, in every moment I could during my daily life. We are not monks, we are householders. This practice can be done for householders. And for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, it's been said and taught, like whatever, householders, you can be better humans, but maybe not this lifetime, but the next or the next and the next, then you'll become a monk or an arhat or a Buddha or blah, 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 all that shit. Just forget all that bullshit. I think it's bullshit anyway, personally. That's a side note. We're taught that you're limited as a householder. One, not true. Not fucking true, in my experience anyway. And two, we're taught that as a householder, we come out of these deep dive meditations, so you get to taste the monk-ishness of it, or the Buddha-ishness of it, just living and being and saturating in that beautiful training and rich, lush ground. And then we come back into this daily life and we're like, oh shit, how do I walk both these paths? Like, how do I bring this out here? That's the point, right, of your yoga practice, your meditation, your mind. That's the fucking point of all these practices. Can I pull this off the mat, off the yoga studio, off the cushion, into my everyday life, so that my everyday life, where I live 99% of the time or 95% of the time, you end up starting to live more here. It's like this equal balance, like you're in the world. I love this. Osho said that. Be in the world, but don't let the world be in you. That was the biggest takeaway, was just more saturated time in that present moment when I'm in the middle of a task or a conversation or work. And it brought so much joy, and it infused so much joy and energy and creativity fucking endless creativity in the present moment before me. To be connected to that innate present moment, witnessing, presence, awareness, mindfulness, whatever you fucking call it, to just be tethered to that in this world. It's like being tethered to that in this world. And that was the most phenomenal takeaway and gift I got from this. So find your practice, explore it, get creative, see what speaks to you, what inspires or invokes you to do something that you've maybe wanted to practice or start or do, and just fucking do it. And I would love to know what you do, so please share with me. Super excited to hear, and I am always happy to discuss or chat or point you in a direction of a helpful guide or tool. If I have one to share with you, I will always share that with you. Have a fabulous day.